Mickey doesn't need to be included. Putting some unique character meet and greets in there would be a really interesting draw.
I think the All-Stars need some love.
Everyone would want to stay there. Welcome to the Enchanted Ears podcast,
where we discuss anything and everything Disney.
I'm Angela.
And I'm Joe, and on today's episode, we are Imagineering our own Disney resort from the ground up.
Yes, we are. We're just building it from yay high to about yay high.
Okay. For those of you just listening, Angela made a motion with her hand low to the ground and then high to the ground.
This may be our third take.
Yes. So, but that's what we're doing. We're gonna build. We're gonna do some armchair Imagineering here, on our own Disney resort.
This is actually one of my favorite things to do, though. Like the episodes where we Imagineer.
Record this podcast?
You know, it is.
Okay,
It is.
No, you mean like armchair Imagineering?
Yeah, like whenever we talk about the rides we want to build, and I talk about Escape from Elephant Graveyard as the greatest ride that has never been built.
Is that going to make an appearance in your hotel? Is it going to be an Escape from Elephant Graveyard Hotel?
It's really not going to be a fit thematically, but I'm just going to shoehorn it in there.
You're going to make it work. So
yeah.
Before we get into that, I want to cover the Disney news. So one piece of news is that the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party dates have been announced. So it is going to be, the first night is August 15th. They shifted it this year. It used to be, I think, like Thursdays for sure, and then maybe like Saturdays or something. Now it is Fridays and Sundays most weeks, August and September. And then when you get into October, there's more dates. I think it's like every night on the weekend and stuff like that. So, but it starts August 15th. If you're listening to this, tickets have already gone on sale. They went on sale last Thursday. If you already have a resort reservation, I think to the general public, I think they go on sale May 22nd.
Wow. So I wonder what the reason for the shift. I mean, I think that a Thursday night, it's harder with like school and work. Friday night, it's so much better.
That's what I'm guessing. Yeah, I mean, most people, weekends are maybe easier for people.
Did you say Friday and Sunday night though?
Friday and Sunday, yeah.
See, like, nights. I don't know. Maybe the listeners can bring this up, but like, you can get me out on a Friday night or a Saturday night, but a Sunday night is an absolute no-go for me.
If you're on vacation, though, I mean, if you're at Disney, it's different. I mean, Disney, I think they have to have some sort of stats on this that those nights are going to do better. There's a reason they changed it. I think the cool piece of news, though, is we're getting a new Jack Skellington, which is a market improvement from the previous Jack Skellington. So.
Yeah, my friend posted it's not the alien head one anymore, and I think that's a perfect comparison. Is that like his head before was like this really odd shape, and the one cool thing about Jack Skellington is that he has a very round head.
Yeah, well, and it was also like part of it was like the actor's actual face. Like it was just a weird thing. Now it's a full Jack Skellington. We're getting closer to actual Jack Skellington. So very exciting.
It looks exactly like actual Jack Skellington now versus the alien version, as she said. Yeah,
very, very exciting about that. Yeah, so so some exciting news there with Jack Skellington. All the other like parades and shows and things from previous years seem to be returning. So shaping up to be a lot of fun.
Yes, and I'm excited to just get my first pictures with Jack Skellington looking like the actual character, Jack Skellington. Now the only one they need to fix is Woody. Wonky Eye Woody.
Yeah. So yeah, we are planning to go down though, like you said. So it is good. We picked a good year for our first year to go when we get the new and improved Jack Skellington. So.
Absolutely.
I do want to mention real quick, we are off next week for the holiday. So no new show next week, but if you are missing us and you want some new content, maybe consider becoming an Enchanted Ears Insider. Join our membership over on YouTube. We have a bonus episode up there right now, and we'll have at least one bonus mini-sode episode up each month. Maybe some more additional content, but at least one episode. So you can go check that out. We have a few listener questions, and our listener questions are going to lead into our main topic here of Imagineering a new resort.
I love it. I love it. I love listener questions.
So before we get into that question, our first question comes from Sam G, who asked, what is your favorite Disney sitcom? Now, I was thinking about this because there's a couple different ways you can go about this. Because initially,
I know yours. I don't know mine.
Well, initially, I wasn't even thinking like Disney Channel sitcoms. I was thinking like, oh, do you mean like sitcoms Disney produced? Because they did like Modern Family, I believe was Fox, so it's kind of technically Disney.
What was on it? Wasn't it on ABC?
It was, but like I think 20th Century Fox produced
Did
it.
it? Okay.
But 20th Century Fox, some other shows that they did were New Girl. They did Last Man Standing, Life in Pieces, which is a great show. My Name is Earl, Fresh Off the Boat. So I initially was thinking like sitcoms like that. But then I remembered, oh yeah, there's like Disney Channel sitcoms. You have like Kim Possible, Even Stevens, Hannah Montana.
I was gonna say I feel like yours is Hannah Montana.
I was gonna say I think mine are probably Even Stevens.
Yeah, Even Stevens was a good one.
When I was younger, and then probably like when I was a little bit older, it was Hannah Montana.
When I was in middle school, I like was called Ren. Like people would call me Ren Stevens because I kind of look like Christy Carlson Romano.
Yes.
But yeah, like so I'm gonna pull out another one for you, and I think this is the winner.
Okay.
If it was traditional, what you said, it's probably Modern Family, I think, but we're forgetting another Fox property that is also I would say it's a sitcom.
Bob's Burgers.
Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
Bob's Burgers is my favorite Disney sitcom.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's animated, but it is a sitcom where it's like talking. It's a commentary on family life and just like the silly, stupid things that happen. I know, like if you've never watched Bob's Burgers, I'm gonna give them a little plug here because the premise of the show sounds stupid. It's a family that runs their own burger shop, their own failing burger shop. Like that's basically what they're
failing. That's the key. If it was successful, it would not be as good a show.
Yeah, but like it's all centered around. They have like Bob is like kind of plays like the straight man. Linda's just like a little on the interesting side. She's
eccentric.
She's eccentric.
Yes.
Like
the kids
mom
are too. Yeah.
And then the kids are all very eccentric and very like character driven. They are all very unique, and so I just think that, and they all have like their own quirks. So if you're like, I don't think Bob's Burgers would be very good, you got to check it out if you've never checked it out, because it is very, very funny.
Yeah.
And it is very much a sitcom.
Yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, never really, like, I was thinking about it. I think this is why
that's a great question.
I didn't think of them, because I don't think I ever really watched a lot of like Disney Channel shows. Like, I mean, like Lizzie McGuire, Wizards of Waverly Place. Like, never really got into those.
I watched Lizzie McGuire, but I don't remember it
Kim
well
Possible.
enough.
Yeah, like I never really got into those.
I think Even Stevens was probably the one that I watched a lot, but again, it's been so long, it's hard for me to even comment on the show.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But I do. I loved Even Stevens, loved Hannah Montana.
That would probably
so
be if it was narrowed down to like your favorite Disney Channel original, it probably would have been Even Stevens.
Definitely. I wonder if that's still on.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I wonder if it's on like Disney Plus somewhere. So you can go back and watch that. It'd be interesting to go do a rewatch.
Yeah, it would be.
So our next question comes from Dawson C. And they ask, do you have a favorite piece of Disney memorabilia from your childhoods? And maybe you still own it or you don't.
I've probably talked about this before on this podcast, but I used to own I can bet you can guess what character it was.
Something from The Lion King, I'm going to say.
A Simba. And he was sitting up kind of, and his paws were like this, and he had like a little leaf necklace on. And when you pressed his stomach, he said, "We will always be together." And I very much wish I still had that, because I don't really feel like I distinctly remember a lot of my toys. But that one I do remember pretty distinctly. I actually had a couple different Lion King things, and I didn't, I went through that phase of, I'm getting too old for it. And I think my mom wanted to try to get me to get rid of some of my stuffed animals. So she was like, you're growing, and why don't we get rid of some of this? Mm-hmm. And I really wish I would have hung on to it. So
check eBay.
I know.
That's where I got mine. So mine probably is my Figment bank, which if you're watching this on YouTube, it's over my shoulder back there. That's not the original one. That's not the one I had from my childhood. But I, a couple years ago, went on eBay and found it and purchased that. They sold those in Epcot. I remember going in the 90s when I was a kid, and I liked Figment, and my parents bought me that Figment bank, and I had it, like, growing up. I had a Figment bank. And then, for whatever reason, I don't know, got rid of it or whatever. But I always liked it. Like, I'd put, like, change or, like, money in it. And then, so, I was like, I really like Figment. Like, Figment was kind of making a comeback. I was like, oh, I remember that bank. I wonder if like anybody has it from, like the early 90s or whatever. So I bought one. So yeah, that's probably mine. So I still have mine. I went and got it. You could probably find that Simba thing on eBay somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I need to have it again. I just wish I would have kept mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wish I would have not gotten rid of it. And I had a couple different Lion King stuffed animals. That was the one that really sticks out, but I wish I would have not gotten rid of those because of just how much that particular story has like resonated with me.
Modern collectibles, not necessarily that's a super collectible thing, but probably the lightsaber, because that was just so much fun to build. Just like the experience of it has like a lot of good memories attached, kind of to your point, talking about memories. So that's probably like favorite of like the more recent like modern stuff. That's maybe not like a classic collectible. So Dawson also asked about Imagineering Resort. Coincidentally, they asked about that as well, but the main question that kind of kicked this off, that got us thinking about it initially, came from Heidi L, who writes, would you consider doing a show on reimagineering a resort hotel / creating a new resort hotel? What would the resort include, location, pricing, etc.? Personally, I would love to see an expansion of the All-Stars Value Family Suites, even adding 2-bedroom ones. There are such few affordable options for families with older kids, families, over 4 people, young adults, friends, groups traveling together, etc., and more Skyliner routes.
Oh my gosh, the Skyliner.
So those were kind of Heidi's ideas. And I will say, I do like the idea of more affordable suite options, but I actually think at the All-Stars, the current setup as it is cheaper to just get 2 like adjoining rooms.
Yeah.
So All-Star Sports, I looked up for a trip like kind of around now. All-Star Sports was $144 a night. Movies was $176 a night, which I don't know why there's a $30 spread on the All-Stars, unless maybe Sports doesn't have the renovated rooms yet.
Oh.
That could be the only thing I could think of. But the Art of Animation suites, which are kind of like the value family suites, they're $490 a night. Now, they sleep 6 people. So you could get 2 all-star rooms for, $280, $300, which technically could sleep 8 people. So I think,
wow.
while, more suites, may be nicer, I actually think it's cheaper the way you just book 2 rooms at the All-Stars instead of getting suites.
That's an interesting thought there. Yeah, I didn't really think about that because, it made me think whenever I read this question about like the Lion King suite. I think I don't remember if we ever actually, we did book that one, I think, one time with your dad.
We did.
And then I think we also got upgraded to that one time.
Yeah.
So we were able to stay in there twice. It was pretty nice. Like you have, like a main bed and then there's like another little bedroom off of it. But yeah, I think that room tends to be pretty expensive. So
for 6 people, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
I mean, for a suite, $500 a night for 6 people.
Yeah.
It works out to be reasonably priced.
Yeah.
But again, like, I don't know that you need to do it at the All-Stars because their rooms are so inexpensive. You can book multiple rooms.
Yeah. And
maybe you're not maybe you can't always get adjoining rooms, so maybe that's kind of a downside.
And I do wonder, I mean, right now, so we're recording this in May 2025. So if anybody's listening to this in the future, you might be like, oh, what prices are you talking about? But yeah, so I'm wondering if different times of the year, like because of the pricing, the 2 rooms. I mean, I'd assume that they would inflate at the same rate.
Yeah, I don't think so. All-Stars usually always around that like $150, $200 a night. And then the suites, sometimes they run specials on the suites though, and not like the All-Stars, so maybe. But speaking of All-Stars, I think this is where I'm going to start. So I'm kind of starting with ReImagineering a little bit before kind of get into building a new resort from the ground up. But I think the All-Stars needs some love. I think it needs an update. I think music and sports, it's just too generic. Like, I think movies is good because they have Toy Story. They have, like, a lot of the Disney movies in there. But music and sports, it's just so generic. It's so, like, non-Disney. And it feels so out of place now that Disney has leaned so heavily into IP. I mean, this was built before
Yeah.
Disney had the IP and it was cool. Like, hey, let's just have sports and music. So I think we need to like Disneyfy this. And thinking of like the 3 resorts, I almost think something of like the Disney eras would be good. So like have almost like
so like what they did for the Run Disney race.
Yeah,
sort of.
kind of. So like have like the classic Walt era, so you could have like Steamboat Willie, Snow White, Cinderella. Then you could have, you know, kind of like the 9 Old Men era, maybe into the Renaissance where you're into things like Peter Pan, the Aristocats, Little Mermaid, and then get into like the modern era. So this is, you know, you get Tangled and Frozen and kind of like your modern princesses, and have
You skipped over the Renaissance, man.
well, I said, yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure where the Renaissance falls in. I think maybe part of it falls into kind of that middle one. Maybe it is. Maybe it's classic era, Walt, Renaissance, and then modern are kind of like your 3. But I think having them themed around that, and Art of Animation has a little bit of that, but take it past animation. Have the rooms have like film cells in the rooms, or have like when we did the went to the Disney 100 exhibition, like they had the sheet music from some of the things.
Yeah.
Like incorporate all aspects of the movies into it, and not just animation to kind of distinguish it. But I think you need some sort of Disney theming in there like that.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a really excellent idea with the eras, and particularly, you know, like trying to like go and stay in your favorite era, or like rooms that are themed around that. I do think that like Disney as of late has moved toward like a more general theming for all of their hotel rooms. And I actually really think that that is a bad move on their part, because I think that the repeatability of a hotel, like if it might get me to stay in different hotels a little bit more if I'm like, no, when I go to this particular place, it's always going to be like this thing. Like Polynesian, it's always going to be Polynesian themed. Like you have the cool bird paintings in the bathroom, you have like the little tiki lamps and things like that. Like I love that highly themed thing. And I know that some of the newer hotels and places that they have built have more of that modern flair. And I might like that for my own home, you know, but when I'm going into like a Disney hotel, I want that strong theming.
Yeah, I do think that they are kind of having very similar themed rooms, especially across the values, because I'm sure there is feedback from guests that they're probably not in their hotel rooms that often, and that way they have a consistent experience. You know, like I think the worst thing you can have is you have, you know, one resort that has new rooms, another resort that kind of has old rooms and like it's dated. And I think across the value, at least there's some consistency with the rooms. And again, put more of the theming in the pools and stuff, because people are going to spend more time there in the parks. But I do think having some differences across the resorts makes sense. So have kind of a consistent quality, but something like, yeah, put in, you know, this resort, put in pages from the script, or, you know, sheet music from your favorite songs, or film cells, like something that makes it a little bit different. Because yeah, right now a Pop Century room and an All Stars room looks exactly the same if you just take a picture of it.
And I actually think this is a really cool play for like customer satisfaction. Imagine if when you book a room, they said, okay, hey, like, what are your top 5 favorite Disney movies? And you have to answer that as part of the booking the room, or you could skip that and they just put you wherever. But if you answer that question, they will intentionally
a little extra
try
magic to it. Yeah.
match you to something that tailors to your interests. Like no guarantees, but they'll try to do that. And then you have a different experience depending on your answer. So maybe you say, oh, my favorites, I don't know, let's pull out Oliver and Company, and they have an Oliver and Company room. And then the next time you're like, all right, well, I've stayed there, so I'm not going to put that. But I just think that would be really interesting and add extra magic and repeatability.
That is interesting because, you know, even right now in like I'm thinking of all-star movies, like you do have the main characters outside are different, you know, movies. Like again, the rooms are kind of all the same, but the different buildings are themed around different characters. So that is an interesting kind of take of, if you know this about the guest, or you either ask them, or Disney has so much
Magic
data.
Band,
Yeah, like
Disney Plus.
Yeah, they kind of know, and it's like, yeah, you could add a little extra magic. It would be obviously a lot more difficult booking the rooms. You couldn't do it all the time, but that is interesting. I wonder if they could build some sort of like engine like that to do that. But anyway, I think All Stars needs some updating.
Again, you're asking us to Armchair Imagineer here, and that would be a good way of.
But that's what I would do. I don't think it's a big lift either. I mean, I'm not saying you need to completely redo the All Star resorts. I think you add a little bit of theming in the rooms, and you change the characters outside the building, so it's not a giant football, but it's now, Steamboat Willie out front. Like, it's not that difficult to do.
And for me, man, I remember the first time we stayed. I can't remember. Was this All-Star Movies or was this Art of Animation? Where did we stay in the Little Mermaid room? Where is that at?
That's Art of Animation.
Okay.
The Little Mermaid room. Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure we stayed in there one time, and I was super impressed, and I loved the Little Mermaid shower curtain. I think I remember, like, there was a shower curtain that was like very Little Mermaid themed.
Yes.
And I feel like the next time we stayed, they'd redone all the rooms, and I'm like, okay, like this looks clean and nice in here, but the cool shower curtain that you can't like buy anywhere is gone now. Like, you've taken away some of the like allure of the room and like the cool, I don't know, like the cool touches that makes this like kind of a cheesy Disney hotel. But if you're going to a Disney hotel, you kind of like that cool cheesiness.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's interesting again. Yeah, how they've kind of standardized it all where you don't have those touches. So, all right. So if you're starting from the ground up, or as you put it, from yay high to yay high, what is your design for a brand new Disney resort?
All right. So hear me out. We're getting an entire map. We are getting a park experience and a hotel.
A park experience and a hotel. Okay.
So, cause like, think about, we got what is it? The hub and spokes. What is
hub
it?
and spoke? Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Hub and spoke. Yeah. Design. Okay. So you're gonna use theme park design into a hotel. Interesting. Okay.
Yes. And so in the center,
that's definitely never been done before.
The center of this is the center of the city, the heart of the city, and in the heart of the city is the precinct in Zootopia. We are going to Zootopia. We are doing the whole map. Each little different hotel building is the different areas, the different lands. So we're going Tundra Town, Sahara Square, Rainforest District, Canyonlands. There's a whole bunch of places all over the map. I watched the movie so I can learn what they were. And, I mean, I didn't name all of them, but yeah. And so you are getting checked in like in the Tokyo hotel.
So each like building.
So each place is its own thing.
Each building is going to be its own building. Okay.
Yes, it's its own building, and also there are different areas. So some areas like there's a canal district that's not going to be its own building, but I will tell you what that's going to be. So you just wait. This is a really great teaser here. Our friends just went to Tokyo and they got checked in by a dinosaur animatronic. Hear me out, Clawhauser animatronic checking you in. You know, he's checking you in.
They have that
in the
They already have that animatronic at the Zootopia ride in Shanghai, so they can just build another one.
Cut and paste.
So this is now as well. I mean, you really are going over budget here.
Oh yeah, because money is no object.
You're putting an animatronic in a hotel. I don't think they've ever had an animatronic.
Yes.
In a hotel. This
I mean,
almost
there's
feels like
multiple of those hotels in Tokyo because I tried to look up the name and then I was like, I'm not gonna try.
Not Tokyo Disney. You're talking just Tokyo.
No, just Tokyo in general.
Yeah,
the dinosaur hotels where the dinosaurs check you in. But there are multiple hotels like that, so it must be lucrative in some way.
Here is my question. You have a lot of different lands and buildings. So this seems like this is going to have a lot of rooms to it. Like, is this going to be a relatively big hotel, or is each building kind of like a small number of rooms? Like, I'm trying to figure out, is this like a boutique hotel that's deluxe, or is this more of like a moderate where we're going to have more rooms? Because right now it feels like a completely immersive experience. Like, it's going to be a very expensive boutique hotel.
Well, listen, we can just do this like Disney does. I imagine as this like sprawling thing. I'm almost imagining it like, what is it? Caribbean Beach. How Caribbean Beach is just humongous.
But there's not sprawling. A lot. And that's what I was thinking, because the Caribbean Beach buildings, there's not a lot of rooms in them.
Yeah, yeah.
But you could have something again like the All Stars, where each building has hundreds and hundreds of rooms. I guess if you're an Imagineer, they don't think about price. They're like, let the parks people figure out how to price it.
This is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like my idea is
you're
this,
building
and
it,
they
and then
can
somebody else has to price it.
downsize it if they
or
want.
somebody else has to price it. Like you're just going to build a hotel, and then they're going to go.
If I build it, they will come.
It's going to be $6,000 a day. You're like, okay, well I just thought about it. So okay.
Exactly.
Not my problem.
Exactly. So let's talk about some of the other things that you get included. So you go into the precinct. Clawhauser checks you in. You get to walk around in there. That's the whole theming of the inside of the main building. Interesting. This police station also has a gift shop. So one of a kind here.
Okay.
But yeah. And maybe that you can do a little mug shot. They have like a little photo op with a mug shot. But
is that how they check you in? Okay.
That would be pretty.
Yeah, that'd be a cool way to check you in.
Pretty
Okay.
cool. So again, as I was saying, they all have different lands. So I definitely think Tundra Town would be really fun. So they should definitely do Tundra Town as one of the areas. You could do the Ice District. Canal District would be great.
Yeah, what's going on with Canal District here?
What is a canal like?
Like a boat ride, like a waterway?
It is like a waterway. What would be great that Disney, I think maybe, does one of the hotels have this? Does Boardwalk have a lazy river? I don't think so.
Yes.
It does?
Boardwalk does. Yeah.
It needs
does.
It's a canal, lazy river, and you know what? I just added some more animatronics.
This is definitely a deluxe. This is a new tier of hotel because you're adding lazy rivers.
So it's like a boat ride,
animatronics. But
it's married with a lazy river.
Does the canal go through all of the districts, or is it its own district? Like, can you float on the lazy river around kind of all of Zootopia? I think that's how you have to do it.
I think you have to do it that way too. And then there are little areas and little things that you can only see if you go through that, as if it is a ride, like a boat ride.
And why not build, since you're going to have animatronics, build a story throughout it that you have to ride the whole thing. Okay, so this is getting wildly out of hand so far. But I have to imagine you're going to have like restaurants and stuff. Because if you have everything else, there's I'm guessing, I'm going to go on a limb and say a dozen restaurants are going to be in this hotel.
Well, so I looked up on like the Zootopia wiki some of the names of the restaurants, and so there is the Big Donut, which is I think the donut that comes down. So I think they should have a donut shop, like a pastry donut shop in there. Also, there's a place called Clark Halibut's, which is a seafood restaurant. It'll be in Tundra Town.
Okay.
So that will be a very nice place for you to eat. It's a very expensive restaurant.
Oh, I know it's expensive. You've described enough to know that it's going to be expensive.
And then I also think there should be a character breakfast with Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde.
Yes. Okay.
Also, I think that's only 2 characters. Usually character breakfasts have more than 2 characters.
Well, they usually have like Mickey in there too. Like
Mickey doesn't need to be included in this one.
So Mickey is not.
No, he does not. He did not come to Zootopia. So
He's a mouse though.
I think.
Doesn't he fit in Zootopia?
He is a mouse, but I think it should be Judy, Nick, and then I think.
What's the is he the commissioner? He's like a bull. Isn't he voiced by Idris Elba?
Yeah, Idris. Yeah, I was thinking
what's his name? Captain. He's Captain.
Like Bongo or Bogo.
Something.
I can't remember what his name is.
I think you gotta have him.
Yeah, I think he would be an interesting character to have, and like the lion mare guy would be really cool, or one of the sloths, like the sloth DMV person. But that would be very difficult.
You'd get one picture.
You'd have to go to them. I think they couldn't go around to the tables. That would be highly themed.
And that's a problem. You don't want people getting up from their tables going over to a character.
Then it would be like was it Napa Rose where you go to the princesses?
I guess you could have that. I guess you could have that.
So they make their rounds.
10 people would take a picture before he said hello. Like it was.
So I think maybe the sloth goes into the. Okay. Yeah, we take that one, put it in the bin. But I just think putting some unique character meet and greets in there would be a really interesting draw. Get people to go there. They'd want to stay there. I think that highly themed hotel.
Highly themed. Highly themed.
Again, like
I'm pretty sure you just got fired from Imagineering for pitching this. You're like, do you understand what we do here? I will say though, Zootopia, I mean, the more you describe about it, it does really lend itself well to a hotel or land. I mean, I see
land or
why
a hotel,
I see why they built Zootopia in Shanghai, because as you mentioned, there's already
it's
themed,
expansive.
but there's already themed eateries.
Yeah.
You know, that you can literally just like, you don't even have to imagine what the restaurant's gonna be. Like a lot of times you're building a new land like Pandora. Okay, what's the restaurant gonna be there? Because there's no restaurants. You go to Zootopia, you have every town.
Yeah.
You have every restaurant. All you have to do is come up with a menu. Like it's all right there for you.
So the one thing that I really appreciate about the movie Zootopia is, like, again, I think as I get older, I become more appreciative of really good world building. So like, you know, Star Wars, great world building. I love it. Arcane, great world building. I think, like, I really respect that. So whenever you have like this like rich tapestry that these stories are set in, it really is, it's just really like immersive, and it like really gets you into the story. And I think that Zootopia, going back and kind of, I didn't rewatch the whole movie, but rewatching the beginning again, I was like, wow, this is like a really cool like little microcosm for like the world we live in, and some of the problems we have, but like distilled for kids. And it's just like, yeah, it's just like a very like rich story and a rich world that they've built here. So I think it's right for the picking for lands or hotels or things like that.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think it'd make
you.
a great hotel, make a great land. I have two. So I have two ideas, and both of my ideas, they're deluxe hotels. So I'm envisioning a deluxe hotel. And I think what Disney World, I'm specifically thinking Disney World here. I think what Disney World is missing is a hotel in the theme park. So if you think about this, Disneyland Paris has it. They have the Disneyland Hotel. It is basically on top of the entrance of Disneyland Paris. Tokyo Disney
Hotel Mary Costa.
They now have two hotels, because with Disney Sea you have the Hotel Mary Costa, but also the Fantasy Springs Hotel, which is basically right by Fantasy Springs. I believe there is an entrance into Fantasy Springs from that hotel. If not, it's very, very close to it and kind of tied in theming wise there. So
I just had another idea.
Okay.
I think a great hotel idea would be if they just rolled out a cot on the Skyliner and just let you sleep on the Skyliner.
Heidi wanted more Skyliner.
Oh my gosh.
Stay on the
Can you imagine just like being on there and like the wind would like rock you?
Yeah, they just stop you.
Oh
at the top. Okay.
I would probably love that.
So,
except for when I had to pee at night. That would be
stuck.
a nightmare.
So my hotels, I see two options here to build hotels that could be situated close to the theme parks, to their land. So I think one is Villains.
Yeah.
They're building Villains land.
I love this
Everybody's
idea.
very excited about it. Extend it, build a hotel. And again, these are deluxe. They're small hotels. I'm not thinking, thousands and thousands and thousands of rooms. So I think you have enough space. You extend Villains land and you build a hotel right there that has access into the park and kind of ties into that theming.
I love this idea. Then you put in the mountain,
mound
where
my gosh.
Scar lives.
Did I just build in the elephant graveyard
you
accidentally?
Put in Escape from Elephant Graveyard. You figured it out. You've cracked the code. Well done, Joseph.
I was not even thinking that. I was not even thinking Elephant Graveyard, but then as soon as you started going, I was like, oh no, I worked it in, didn't I? I made it possible.
You did. So yeah, Elephant Graveyard, and then just, the green smoke. I want to see that green smoke so bad. Like where he just like that's, and be prepared when he's stepping and the green smoke is spraying everywhere. I want this. Can we get, maybe the roller coaster
goes like through the hotel.
Goes through the hotel.
Yeah, I don't think
back to the park.
Yeah, the ride.
Oh my gosh.
The ride is in the park, but it goes through the hotel.
Amazing.
But just imagine a hotel themed around Villains.
Everyone would want to stay there immediately.
A dark, moody hotel.
Yes, love it.
Completely different vibe. And how I see this as,
love it.
And the tie into Villains Land is, this is where the villains go
to vacation
after a day of villaining. Like this is where they go and relax.
I love
and
this.
hang out. So I think you have a lot of characters there. I think you have a lot of villains there. I think you have like a dinner show kind of thing. Like I see this as like not even necessarily like a character dinner, but like an actual like dinner show with the villains.
What if like in Ralph breaks the internet,
Yeah.
where the princesses are all in their
Yes.
PJs, but you have the same thing but with the villains, and they're not in their typical villain clothes, but they have
Oh,
their
yeah.
villain PJs, like
Yeah.
their alternate outfits. I love this idea so
Yeah,
much.
and I think like we're getting the new villain show at Hollywood Studios, and I think like again like putting that in and making it like a dinner show, like having that. So I see that. I think you could have some restaurants around Chef Louis from Little Mermaid, so you could have a seafood restaurant. So it could be like his kitchen, like seafood. He's kind of a villain. I mean, he is a small villain, but doing it around seafood. You could do Ursula too, kind of seafood. I'm thinking
what about Tomatua? I want a shiny
Well,
place.
my whole thing is he's an actual chef, so I think like it ties like he is a chef opening up a restaurant here. I think the other thing that you could really do really well is a themed bar, the Evil Queen's Potions Bar.
Oh.
And so all of the cocktails and everything are like potions that the Evil Queen would make or that the villains would use. So I think
Yzma's llama potion.
exactly.
Oh my gosh.
So that's how I'm kind of like tying it in. But yeah, I think the big thing is like it is something completely different vibe wise of a hotel. Like it really is. You could even have like kind of like on like Rise of the Resistance, how the cast members are kind of mean to you. Not that you want the hotel staff to be super mean, but like they could have a little bit of an attitude. Like they're all maybe some of them played as like they're kind of henchmen and they're kind of tired of this, and they're tired of being the henchmen for X or Y villain, or some of them are like, hey, we're trying to move up, so like they're not friendly, but that's kind of like the whole shtick of it because they're all villains here. I like your idea of like kind of the villains just relaxing, like not in their normal
like villains
outfits.
Pajama party.
Yeah.
Like there's a villains pajama party you could
that.
attend.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I would pay. How much money would you pay for like a villains dessert and pajama party?
I mean, I think Disney could easily price that at $200.
I'd say Disney, take my money right now. I want it so bad, and then I'd have to go out and buy special pajamas. Then they just put a little pajamery right next door that you can buy specialty pajamas.
Let us know, listeners. Let us know.
Oh my gosh!
Let us know what you would pay, because I will say, you say I would pay any amount of money, and I feel like Disney thinks people will pay any amount of money, and then they made the Star Cruiser, and everybody went, "Whoa, this is too much money."
But they didn't explain what it was.
No, but it still was too much, and it was like, this is too much. They announced the hotel and everybody went, I'll pay any amount of money to be in Star Wars. And then they're like, that's too much. So I do feel like $200 for a dessert villains pajama party. Good.
They have to be good desserts.
Disney comes out and says this is $500 a person. No, exactly. So there is a limit.
There is a limit, but I'm just saying.
But let us know. Listeners, let us know. So that's my idea for villains. Ties into Villains Land. I think the other opportunity we have is over in Animal Kingdom. We're getting a new land, Tropical Americas, over in Animal Kingdom, Encanto, over there. I think you build a hotel. You could do a Tropical Americas, but I think you build the casita and you stay in the casita, which has a rich opportunity for highly themed rooms and suites around each of the Madrigal children.
So you have to, I mean, this is like really super deluxe because there's only so many Madrigal children.
Well, you could have the same, like, again, in the same way there's 100 Lion King suites in Art of Animation. You have, 50 that are Louisa and, 50 that are Bruno, whatever.
What if it was
but
like this exaggerated size, and then whenever you would enter the wing through whatever the character you're staying with, then there would be rooms.
Yes, exactly.
Way.
Yeah, the wing could have like the light up door to it that you enter. I think this is an opportunity, not necessarily animatronics, but like building in some cool technology that the hotel kind of comes to life.
Yeah.
Like adding some magic to it.
I like
throughout.
this idea. Animatronics in the bedrooms. Let's go one beyond what I had and them being in the hotel.
No, but
put them in the rooms.
But I'm thinking like the lobby, like have the floor move or have it like light up, just like have things happen. Kind of like a
cracks
rainforest
form in the wall.
Kind of like a rainforest cafe, just like where things are happening, it comes to life. Like I think this is a great opportunity. Obviously, an Encanto character breakfast.
Oh yeah,
you have to have that. I think you could have restaurants themed around Central South America. So tying into that like tropical Americas aesthetic and vibe that you're going for. But I think the big draw is basically like, hey, I get to stay in this person's room. Like, this is my favorite character from Encanto. I get to stay in their room. I get to meet the characters. And then again,
I'm staying with the rats in the walls.
There you go. You could do that. Maybe we do that. And then again, you don't necessarily have to put it close to Animal Kingdom. You don't necessarily have to put the Villains Hotel close to Magic Kingdom. But I do think Disney World, like, imagine having that hotel there. You know, like, right with the park, you have a special entrance. It would just add another level to it.
Yeah, now I'm really sad.
Okay. Because you can't stay at any of these hotels.
Yes, I want to stay at these hotels now.
Yeah.
Like, these are a lot of fun. I like both of our ideas. I think you had some really excellent ideas that tie in really well with what they're already doing. And so just it's like a nice like extension to what they're taught, like what they're putting in there already.
I want to come up with reasonable expectations in case Disney's watching this and they want to hire me as an Imagineer. I want to show that I can somewhat keep us in some sort of constraints and I'm not building crazy animatronics. You threw away your shot.
I'm not building.
I'm taking this opportunity.
I'm cutting and pasting something that already exists.
Okay.
But then, making them look good because people will be like, whoa, Clawhauser, this is so cool. See, Disney, I'm making it look good. So if there's one job, Joe is probably more qualified.
I see this as a job interview. You're just like, I can do anything. No.
Yeah,
I don't think mine's that realistic either. So I don't think either of us are getting hired by Imagineering right now. But that's okay. That's all right.
I think they're fun ideas.
Yeah,
I think, let us know what you think. Like, would you stay in these hotels? Would you, what else would you maybe add to them? What hotel would you propose? Like, is there something that we maybe missed or something that you think would fit in really well? Let us know.
Yeah, if you're watching us on YouTube, let us know in the comments, or you can let us know on Instagram. We're at Enchanted Ears Podcast over there. If you have a question or a topic you'd want us to cover in a future episode, you can reach out to us that way as well. I want to thank everybody who reached out with their questions this week. It was a lot of fun. But that wraps up the show for this week. I want to thank everybody again for listening. If you've not done so, please leave us a rating or a review. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. It really helps, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks for lending us your ears.
Have a great week, everybody. We are off next Monday. We'll see you here in 2 weeks.
Bye-bye.